Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
The beauty of running disruptive companies full of hardworking, creative people is that when Elon Musk has an idea, he can make it a reality practically overnight.
Even if it's just a boring one. This next disruptive idea came to Elon one day in 2016 as he drove to work in what he calls LA's soul-destroying traffic.
Why limit ourselves to having roads on a two-dimensional plane shared by pedestrians and bicyclists and buildings?
Why not disappear underground into a three-dimensional tunnel system that could whisk commuters across town quickly?
Why not tunnels? Come on, because tunnels are wicked expensive.
To build a tunnel today costs $450 million to $1 billion per mile to construct. To build just one underground highway system across Los Angeles would cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
But that got Elon thinking, why is building a tunnel so expensive? What's more simple than a hole in the ground?
So what did he do? He assigned some employees and interns at SpaceX to help him do some research into how tunnels are built.
And what better way to learn than to tinker with a used tunnel boring machine?
Yep, I mean it's only chump change for a billionaire. So he bought a used tunnel boring machine for a few million and started digging a tunnel across the street from the SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California.
Elon was following a play from his own playbook. Follow first principles, ask whether something is physically possible. If it is, ask why you're not doing it that way.
And then use existing technology to modify the way the industry currently does something to make it work better and cheaper.
All current tunnel boring machines are powered by diesel engines. Elon's first step was to rip that out and replace it with, you guessed it, an electric powertrain. Elon was able to improve the technology right off the bat.
Yeah, if you're digging a tunnel without creating diesel fumes, you don't have to spend so many resources ventilating the tunnel to get those deadly fumes out.
And while you're getting rid of diesel engines, who needs a diesel-powered muck train for getting rid of the waste? Make that electric too.
And why should the waste soil be considered waste? Why not use the waste to make the concrete walls of the tunnel itself?
And any extra soil can be made into these bricks, which Elon is donating for use in low-income housing projects, while the rest is sold for profit.
Again, looking at a problem differently creates opportunities for cost reductions.
Like, why are tunnels so wide? If you make a tunnel half the width, you reduce the amount you have to dig by 75%. It's just math.
Highway tunnels today are wide because we humans have to drive through them. But if we let the cars drive themselves autonomously, they don't need all that extra space on the sides. They are perfect computer drivers.
And if the cars driving through the tunnels are electric instead of ICE cars spewing pollution, you can spend less on ventilating the finished tunnel.
And in their first attempt, Elon's new company, the Boring Company, built a 1-mile test tunnel for only about $10 million.
Sounds like a lot, but it's actually 50 times cheaper than existing tunnel technology. It's actually 4 to 5 times cheaper than building a simple one-lane surface highway lane.
And that's their first iteration. The Boring Company has learned a lot in a very short amount of time and is actually working on their third-generation electric tunnel boring machine design.
And they're busy building real-world tunnels. As we speak, the Boring Company is building a tunnel system in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Convention Center.
And they have another contract with the city of Chicago, building a tunnel from downtown to O'Hare Airport.
And there's the tunnel they're building from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland.
So in just a few short years, Elon Musk's Boring Company has figured out how to build something very popular way cheaper than the competition.
The tunnel construction market represents 6 to 7% of the global infrastructure construction market. Currently, a $19 trillion market.
Right now, there are over $1.5 trillion worth of tunnel construction projects being built around the globe.
And Elon's fledgling Boring Company can already build tunnels cheaper and faster.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Considering that the Boring Company's first iteration already costs 98% less than the competition, Elon should be able to capture much of the tunnel construction market.
Not to mention that once the cost of a tunnel is drastically reduced, many more cities and towns will be able to afford them, which will vastly increase the tunnel market.
This is a lot like what happened to the computer industry.
Right. Back in the 1960s, only governments and universities could afford computers. Then, in the 80s, businesses couldn't do business without them.
Today, almost everyone on the planet either has one in their pocket or at least has access to one, which has changed life as we know it.
It'll be the same thing with tunnels. Today, there are a few here and there, but in the near future, they'll be everywhere.
And not just running under a river or across town, but an underground multi-level network of tunnels, which will alleviate traffic and change life in cities unimaginably.
For more on that, please check out our Boring Tunnel Future series.
Current tunnel construction companies weren't asking how to build a better tunnel boring machine. They were happy to keep making big profits.
Elon isn't interested in starting companies to make big profits. He wants to make the world a better place.
And not just this world. These very same boring machines will work on Mars for when we establish a new Mars colony.
All of Elon's ideas revolve around this central theme of using first principles to make a better future for all of us.
Again, we are in the midst of this new disruption, so it may be hard to fathom, but the economics and technology are undeniable, which means that cheaper, faster, safer tunnels are inevitable.
Another disruption courtesy of Elon Musk.
Thanks for joining us.
Now you know.
Thanks so much for watching Now You Know. We work hard to bring you videos about things that we think you'll find useful, but we need to know from you what you want to see, so leave your comments below. Also, don't forget to go over to our Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can watch our Patreon bonus story every week on Tesla Time News. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.